Hello, Birmingham. This is Derwin Banks. I'm a farmer down in the south of England, but I'm reaching out to you in Birmingham today mainly because one of the news presenters on Radio 4 was presenting from Birmingham and talking about some of the difficulties that you're having up there, including some of the mental health problems. Anyway, this is an attempt by, I'm a farmer, to reach out to people in a city, and we've become so disconnected from food and farming, and although many farmers have been trying to help and reach out, including the Pasture-Fed Livestock Association, who are actually looking at how eating beef properly fed, or all animals properly fed, can be healthier for you. We're trying to do a lot, but it's not happening very quickly. So I thought I'm going to try and reach out to cities around the country, and today, this morning, it's Birmingham. Just to remind you, not longer ago than just over 100 years ago, here down in the southeast, we were really an agricultural backwater. There was nothing much going on. And up in the Midlands and the North is where all the activity was, all the wealth was being created, there was lots of industry going on. And of course, that's changed a lot now, especially in recent years. The industry has gone, or a lot of industry has gone from the Midlands and the North, and the coal mines and so on. And down in the South has become more prosperous. But agriculture still goes on. But at the same time, or rather later on, you losing your industry in the Midlands and the North, we in farming have become industrialised, and that has been bad for your health, and it's bad for the connections because it's driven people from the land, and there's very few people working on the land now. 0.75% of people working on the land, and the average age is 58 or 60, something like that, which is not really very good. We could have a lot more people working on the land, making food to keep you healthy, but so much of the food that you eat nowadays, we all eat nowadays, is not really food at all. And I invite you to think about that in a serious way, because we've now come to the situation where we're spending so much money on the National Health Service to try and cure disease. Isn't it time that we looked at the food chain and looked at what's happening in the food chain to try and actually prevent disease? There are many, many studies that show you can prevent disease and cure disease by changing your diet and eating food that keeps you well and healthy. Of course, it's not the only thing. Exercise and lack of stress and a whole lot of things like that all make up how we need to keep ourselves healthy. So I'm going to ask you, my friends, and all others that watch this in Birmingham, to do something to help reconnect farmers and people in the city together for a common aim, because it is all our common aim. We want to live a healthier life, and it's just not happening. So what I'd like you to do, especially in relation to mental health, because mental health is about the function of your brain, and the function of your brain requires your cells to talk to each other, and therefore they need making properly. The raw materials for making cells are oils and fats, and that's one of the major things that we've fooled around with in the last 50 or 60 years. We've moved from cooking in lard and dripping to cooking in oil, and that's a move from getting our fat from grass to getting our fat from rainforests, if you like. That's the extremes of it. So when we get our fat from grass, we're eating animals that graze over the pastures and produce all sorts of good things in their body for us to keep us healthy. But when we've moved to getting our fat from rainforests like palm oil and soya oil and things like that, we've actually destroyed the rainforests. because the oil that comes from those plants is largely, in Indonesia and Malaysia, huge tracts of rainforest have been burnt and leveled to the ground to plant palm oil. We don't need palm oil. We can use butter, we can use lard, we can use dripping in our food. You've only got to look at all of the products that you buy. If there's palm oil on the back of it, you eat that, you're actually killing an orangutan. You're causing more destruction of rainforests by burning, which is destroying the ozone layer. All of that is going on because of something you're doing in the food chain. So I ask you, please have a look at the products that you eat. If they've got palm oil in, don't do them. Don't eat them. And the other thing you can do, just to help this reconnection process, is always use butter. Don't use any of those spreads that are manufactured. They're all industrially produced fats, which us Stone Age people are not designed to eat. Go back to having butter, especially butter from pasture-fed animals. And if you do that, those people that look after those animals will have a better living, hopefully. They can produce better fields, better soil. The biome of the soil will be improved because they will have animals as well as other things on their land. This is really what we want to do. And I'll ask you to do one other thing. When you go into a fish and chip shop, find out how they cook the fish and chips. If they use oil, say, look, this is a dangerous thing to do. And it's dangerous because you change the structure of the oil by heat. And you should be cooking in lard or dripping saturated fat. You're an animal, after all. You have saturated fat in your body. So it's not intrinsically harmful for you. You don't want wheelbarrow loads of it, but the point is, if you're cooking something, cook in something that's not going to harm you. And it's blatantly obvious in the last 60 years since we've made that change from cooking in lard or dripping to cooking in oil, we've made huge impacts on the environment and also our health. Mental health as well. It's all involved with the oils and fats. Do you remember when they called you fathead at school? It wasn't an insult. You've got 60% fat in your brain and you need to feed it properly. You can have coconut oil. Give yourself more coconut oil every day if you like. If you want to be vegetarian, that comes from plants, and that's a saturated fat. That's fine. And you might find if you have more of that over time that it will help with dementia and Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. Feed the brain what it needs, and I think it will improve your mental health. So there we are, all of you people in Birmingham. I hope you'll hear this, and if you do, you'll take some action, because I want to reconnect with you from the countryside. As a farmer, I want to reconnect. I want us all to work together to produce a better life, and you can do it by start taking some of those actions. Stop using industrial fats. Use things that are produced on the farm and hopefully locally if you can, and gradually you'll feel a benefit. And of course, when you become healthier, we won't have to spend so much money on the health service, and that'll be better for all of us. So it's up to us. I think we're the only ones that can make these changes. The government are not really interested in that, or otherwise they would have been supporting prevention rather than cure, and I can't see any evidence that they're doing that at the moment. So there we are. This is Derwin Banks, a heart-centred farmer down in Sussex, reaching out to the people of Birmingham. Please listen, take heed, and take some action. And I'd love some feedback. Thank you very much. Bye.